it was bound to happen. I was out working the 24 today, had the grapple on the front, all happy and everything, been cutting down a bunch of stuff for a customer. Had just went in, scooped it up, grabbed it, raised the loader arms up, and hydraulic fluid was pouring out of the grapple frame. And let me show you what I found. After much agony, I got that line removed, and there's where the problem is, right there. Now I've also found out a couple more things where these lines pass into this channel work right here. The hydraulic lines on this side and the other one on this side all have bad rub marks on them where they're rubbing against the side of the cutouts where they pass through here. Now right here in the middle, these T connectors, this is where the lines connect that go to the third function. Now what I did, and if you've never had this happen to you before, as soon as I saw the fluid pouring out of the grapple frame, I went ahead and lowered the loader arms down and shut the engine off, and then I disconnected the hoses from the third function here on the loader arms that feed the grapple. And for those of you who have never worked around hydraulics and everything like that before, and that's what these videos are mainly for, people who haven't done work like this, who are thinking about getting into it, who are just learning it. The RK24's got a one hydraulic reservoir on it. The RK24's got a hydrostatic transmission, so what that means is the one tank of hydraulic fluid you've got on here not only makes this thing go backwards and forwards and gives you your steering and whatever, maybe not, it also powers the grapple and the backhoe. So if I hadn't shut the engine down and disconnected the hoses from the third function kit right here, I'd have probably dumped out all my hydraulic fluid on the ground and my tractor would have been stranded. So if this ever happens to you, if you're working your grapple and you notice fluid, you got a bad leak, shut it down, disconnect it, and get your tractor back to your trailer. Goes the same for the backhoe. The backhoe's got the big hydraulic lines that are fed off the pump on the tractor. If you ever break a line like on one of the outrigger jacks or your arms, shut it down, disconnect those lines, and then get your tractor out of there. One more little tidbit of info. When you're taking those lines off, and they are, y'all bear with me just a second. Got a leaf on one. For the ultra close up. The lines are 3/8 hydraulic lines, and the female fittings, you can use an 11/16 on that, and right in here in the middle, this T, you can use a 9/16 just to fit right around the body and hold that still while you disconnect everything. And then don't pull those lines out. You want to ease them out because they're coming through, and you won't be able to see it right now, I'm pretty sure, but I'll try to point at it. See, that's a hole cut out in this big channel right here for the hydraulic lines to pass through and go to your hydraulic cylinder, and you don't want to tear them up pulling them out like that. But what I found inside that probably caused the original problem, a very sharp rock had got into that channel work. Tells me that when I get this thing back in service, I'm going to have to stuff some rags down in those holes or something to keep debris from getting down in that channel. I didn't even think about that. I mean, all my work is ahead of that big piece of frame, but somehow a rock, it's probably about that big, got down in there, very sharp rock, and I think that's what's caused me all this misery right here. But anyway, I'll be going to my local Napa store tomorrow because, as luck would have it, my grapple went out of warranty 14 days ago. Which is okay because I live about, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours away from my dealer, and I live about 2 miles from the Napa store. So I'll just go down there and get them to fix me up a hydraulic line. I may go ahead and replace all those lines because when I pulled out the other ones on the other side that didn't have the leak on it, I noticed where they had been rubbing back and forth on that cutout on the channel work, and that just tells me I'm going to have trouble with that later on down the road. But anyway, I hope this helped y'all out and give you something to, you know, kind of be on the lookout for. And I checked this thing, you know, before I use it, and it looked okay today. But when you're operating everything, and you guys and gals that have been operating tractors a while, you know those hydraulic lines are going to jump around a little bit, and they just, you know, rubbed a hole in it, and that rock got in there, and that probably cut up that line to the point it just said, I'm done, I'm done. So speaking of done, it's about 8 o'clock down here in East Central Alabama, and I'm going to call it a day. I'll give y'all another update on how this goes, and hopefully I get it running and I can complete the task that I started this morning. Y'all have a good evening.